Has Silver and Black been pulled from its release date? Do we know when it's coming back? No. But has it? Yes. When will we find out what's up with Rosario Dawson's doings at Marvel? And do we have a new scene from Luke Cage? This is Marvel Movie News.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Marvel Movie News.
Excelsior to you, our Merry Marvellites. This is episode 183 of Marvel Movie News, which is a staggering number, but not as staggering as the lack of news.
What?
It is soon to be Comic-Con, and with Comic-Con comes news. Even though Marvel's not going to be there, they are clearly holding things close to the chest, maybe for D23, maybe for something else. But either way, it is a slow news week, which means we have a lot to talk about with the minutia of things to talk about. Now, first, I need to tell you, you can find us at iTunes, at Marvel Movie News. You can subscribe to us at youtube.com/Marvel Movie News or at the Popcorn Talk Network. You can find us through Popcorn Talk's website, popcorntalknetwork.com. Follow us on Twitter at Marvel News PTN or at the Popcorn Talk. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Marvel News Show. Follow us, like us, and if you retweet a link of this show whilst we are live, Aunt Anthony in the booth will retweet you.
So, trailer awards, that's a thing, right?
He's very excited to talk about the trailer
Who
awards.
knew?
That is a thing. Right now I'm trying to figure out how to turn my display off after, where it's like 30 seconds and then it's off because I want to see the chat and have Trevor see the chat also.
So today we have, joining us today, a fellow comic fan, a fellow man about sets, a man that loves this stuff as much as we do, that doesn't get to talk about it nearly enough.
I don't.
Trevor Steins.
Hello, hello.
Where can they find you on the internet?
Oh, you guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Trevor_Steins. That's STINES.
And we just met this gentleman at the live Schmodown, and
It was a great event.
we brought out outside about loving comics in the heyday of comics, and I was like, yo,
Yeah.
I got a place. I got
Yeah,
a place
because we are one tribe, and that tribe is nerd.
And
Yes.
we're here.
Yeah, yes.
And,
I
Miss
prefer the
Markeia-
term geek, honestly.
Do you?
Oh,
Yeah.
I say nerd for me because I'm not good at quantitative knowledge, and I feel
Yeah.
like geeks are quantitative knowledge people,
see,
and
I
I'm a
always
creative knowledge person.
I always thought it was the other way around.
I'm with you on that, because
Ooh.
nerds to me feel like people that are really good at games and
Like
and
STEM and
science and
math,
whereas
yeah.
geeks are just like, I like the Star Wars. And I'm definitely in that camp.
I've seen
Empire
a Star
Strikes Back.
Wars.
I'm a Last Jedi guy. I'm that person. Markeia, where can they find you on the internet?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Maria McCarty, MarkeiaMCCARTY.
And the lovely Amy.
Yes, that is me. I am she. You can find me on all social media at Amy Cassandra MTZ and join us in the chat.
Hi, Amy.
Yeah. And she just is canon now. She just made herself she, so we know it's Amy and it's Warlock as him, and we know this now.
It's true. It's
Yes.
true. So this week, as I was saying, is a very light in the news week. So we're gonna do the news, and then I want to talk about Trevor about the actual experience of loving comics and then being involved in an adaptation of comics. That's awesome. I've actually never talked about it on the show before, but I worked on Dark Knight Rises, and it was the most surreal thing for me to walk on a set, see a practical 40-foot desk with Scarecrow sitting on top, and look over and Bane was there. Because as a kid that read that since he was 5, that was like, "Whoa!" So I wanted to talk to someone else about that insane moment of like, well, I'm a man now.
Yeah.
I felt that moment when I saw a Labyrinth with David Bowie.
You
Yeah,
said,
like
you
there's a-
said
I was like,
I'm a man.
I'm a
now?
man
I'm
now.
a man now.
I'm a man
It's
now.
the twirling bulge. So
Yes, it is.
Black Panther. There is a theory going about, and it's comic based, that Shuri might become Black Panther. Now, Letitia Wright, at all costs, should be, could be, maybe will be, and she teased it at the MCM Comic-Con in London that she might be taking over, saying, quote, I was like, what's this Disney princess pressure?
Say it in a British accent.
Oh, God. Nope, can't. Do I have to be perfect? Then I realized that everyone just so geeked out about having a different kind of female character in the Marvel Universe and the Disney Universe, and there's going to be a much, much more. I'm not the only Disney princess to come to the surface and claim that title. I'm so honored, seriously. I grew up on the Disney movies and grew up with the Disney princesses, and they didn't really look like me, but now you can go buy action figures and say, this is a Disney princess, right on. I agree, right on. What do you guys think about Shuri becoming Black Panther?
Yes, absolutely, 150,000% on board. Because yes, and as she said, it is canon. Shuri does become Black Panther in the comic books, and it's kind of an epic journey. And I know that I've said this before, but just in case there are people that are just joining us for this particular episode and have not perhaps read I believe it's under Reginald Hudlin's run for this when Shuri actually becomes Black Panther. But she, yes, we see her as a tech genius, but she was a warrior princess and always was like, you know what, T'Challa's cool, everything's cool with him, but I'd make a better leader, kind of a thing. And then when he was comatose, it was this whole thing. Comic books are a heck of a drug. I'm not going to get into it. But he was comatose, so she went to step up and went to Bast, went through this whole process. She's like, okay, great. I'm the perfect Black Panther for you. Let's do this. And Bast is like, you know what, you are, but you're too arrogant. So no, you will not be Black Panther. And she was like, okay, cool, peace. I'm going to do it anyway. And she did.
And her suit is dope. It's got that
so
fur
good.
rim
And then
around
eventually
it.
Bast is like, you know what? Yeah.
You've earned it.
Good.
Which is
you've
the
earned
arc
it.
of Black Panther. You think you're ready, you're not ready, you earn it, Black Panther.
You are ready.
Because it's a mantle, but it's also, I love that it's hereditary and a mantle. Like, I love that you get it by blood, but also earn it beyond that. That's one of my favorite things about the character.
Exactly. Yeah, it kind of differs sometimes in the comics with the whole hereditary thing, but it's always someone who earns it.
Right.
So, and then I love how she's making comments on like Disney princess. I mean, everybody's, people I talk to have brought that up, and it's so refreshing to have a Disney princess who is just so incredibly different than the way that you see that.
Well, it's been really cool as I've seen a lot of waves of Disney. I'm an old man. And I think it's really cool to see these new movies coming out. Like Incredibles calls it out in the first 15 seconds of the trailer. Like, let's address the elephant in the room. Mom's the best superhero for the job. And the dad being like, I'm the stay-at-home dad. And I love that we're literally heading face on at the 2018-ness of it all and being like, hey, for a long time, this has been backwards. Look at us go forwards. And, like, that's what Marvel's really good at. Like, they make sure we know that we can address this as being a problem. Look at us going forward. And Marvel's like, I can't wait for the Black Widow movie. I can't wait for Captain Marvel. I can't wait for this. So give me that Shuri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Trevor, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
Shuri
I'm a
and
huge fan
Black
of,
Panther.
of what she had to say about representation in the Disney realm, especially like, I think Disney has been the paragon for like role models or like young girls' involvement in media, like with the classic Disney animations and princesses and everything. Like that's, I think, like women and girls have grown up on that for generations and generations, and so to have this diverse and like interesting and different take or version of a Disney princess that people who might not have been able to relate to before can now relate to is, I think, beautiful. I think it's an amazing thing. As in regards to her being Black Panther, I'm super into the idea of her, like, since we can talk about Infinity War.
Yeah, same.
Oh my God, yes, we're going to talk about
I was
Infinity
like,
War.
Thanks for asking, but it's been a month. It's going to make $2 billion probably this week.
Just had to
So-
double check. Since Black Panther got dusted, I'm super into the idea of her like taking on that mantle for Avengers 4.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I always liked after Black Panther came out, I heard people talking about Shuri possibly becoming the MCU's Riri Williams and becoming Ironheart.
I've always liked that personally.
I
know
always
there's
really
been-
like that idea.
I don't like that idea.
No?
Riri Williams is completely different. I don't think we have to put the
Conflate
two.
two, like,
Yeah, I think we can
African-American
have
characters
a separate character that's that. But it's just I know that there hasn't been the build up of that, but it's a possibility to have that in the Spider-Verse to have that build
Yeah.
up. That's a possibility.
That's true as well.
But I mean, they're known for Ned
Making
leads,
characters work,
you
yeah,
know.
like Ned
so
leads Genki.
they're known for. So if they do that, I'm not completely against it because that would be fun. But I just really enjoy her. Just
Were
as
you
Black
reading
Panther.
Spider-Man Bendis's run when it was ending? The Spider-Man Miles Morales' title which became Spider-Man, like the Spider-Man book.
Okay.
And Bendis started referring to Genki. His secret alias was Ned Leeds, so he was telling this girl he was Ned Leeds. So the comic started making fun of the fact that the movie just stole Genki. So he was online and his screen name was Ned Leeds, and I thought that was the most clever, like, we noticed.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thanks, guys. Thanks,
Thanks.
guys.
We're over here. We know what you're doing. So speaking of Black Panther, and speaking of what Ann Anthony started with, there are trailer awards, and I have actually, I'm not even kidding, I've followed them for about 7 years because I'm a big trailer guy. I think that a movie is
I keep
made...
on learning things about you, Coy.
A movie is made 3 times. It's made when it's written, it's made on set, and it's made when it's cut. There are 3 movies that always happen. For me, a trailer is its own art piece. A trailer is its own microcosm of film. So editing a trailer is just as important as a character writing or an actor's portrayal or a director's choice. For me, a trailer is completely separate. It's its own animal, and for me, that doesn't get enough love. So I'm a huge like golden trailer fan.
I totally agree with you.
Like, because you can watch a trailer and be like, well, that's not a movie for me, and then you can see the movie and be like, why didn't they show this movie?
I think Suicide Squad is a great.
It's not the
example of
trailer.
that. Yeah, exactly.
And like a lot of movies today, if they'd like Solo, if they'd showed Solo, which is in theaters right now, surprisingly, no one's seen it. If they'd shown Solo the movie that it is, it might have done better. Like he does a lot more of the Harrison Ford swagger than the trailers gave him credit for.
Yeah.
And like that's the thing. Like trailers are 3 minutes of sell this hundreds of $1 million property. We should act like it.
Yeah, definitely.
No,
So-
I just see trailers as a very tricky thing. I mean, it's on one level, they can be excellent advertisements for the product that you're thinking about going to see, and then others, it just seems like they're throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Yeah,
like
it's
there
not a
will
bad
be,
one,
well, no, not even a bad movie. It'd be like an okay
Bad
movie.
trailer, sorry.
Bad trailer.
Yeah.
Where it'd be like an okay movie, but then I see like 3 or 4 different trailers of it portraying it as different things. Be like, oh yeah, this is a family movie, and here's the family stuff, and oh no, this is a heist movie, and
Right.
such and such. Oh no, it's a high school drama. For this, I'm like, wait, what kind of movie is this? Because I'm seeing all of these trailers, and it's like I see what you're doing, and that actually puts me off of the movie as opposed to having like a direct message for
Right.
this is the movie that you're getting, like Ocean's 8.
Yeah.
For instance, it's like
Yeah.
this is a movie that I'm getting. Great.
That's why I think his point about trailers being an art form is so poignant, because I agree. Like, I think you have some trailers that it's just a mishmash of loosely connected things that don't really fit together in the way that it's cut together. Or you have some trailers that, like, you have 3 minutes of just beauty. And
Mission Impossible, the trailer right
Yes.
now, that doof, build up, and the whole
So-
time we're like,
that song is,
Imagine Dragons.
yeah, Friction by Imagine Dragons, my favorite band.
It's an incredible song by an incredible band, and it makes you feel
Yeah.
all the things a trailer should make you feel.
Honestly, I think out of all the trailers for movies I've seen this year, Into the Spider-Verse, which we'll get into,
Yep.
and Mission Impossible 6, like, I'm not even the biggest Mission Impossible. Like, I think they're really good movies and really fun. That trailer, I've seen it like 6 times.
Right.
And every time, like, I lean over my girlfriend in the theater, I'm like,
it's like this is the thing.
That
This is
trailer's
the
a
thing.
pre-workout. That trailer's just like,
oh, yeah. And it immediately makes me need to get up and go to the gym.
yeah, it's a Rocky montage.
Freaking
and
watching
like,
Henry Cavill
Henry Cavill
reload
load
his
his
arms.
guns.
Yeah.
It
like,
literally
hold
makes
on.
his arms into guns, and I'm just like, yes. And that's Superman, so that's relevant to the show. Now,
Yeah, I do agree with the chat room though.
The show called
Yeah,
Marvel Movie
yeah,
News.
the-
Yeah,
Talk about
I agree with the
Malcolm.
chat room. The Black Panther trailer was the best trailer ever. They didn't say that, but I'm just paraphrasing.
Well, the Golden Trailer Awards did.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
said
yeah.
this year it won, and I think it's really important to note. I also think that to show a very concise version, remember Age of Ultron, and remember how you knew that whole movie, and you just pieced together scenes while you're watching it? Remember when you saw Infinity War, and they gave you a scene that wasn't in the movie to surprise you? A good trailer goes, hey, we're going to spend $1 million and have the Hulk running with a squad in
Yeah.
Wakanda, and that's never going to happen. That's a good trailer. So,
Yeah,
Black
so-
Panther, remember how many times you saw that in theaters and just went like, and then it made $1 billion in
Yeah.
21 days?
Though I will
yes,
say,
less than a month. Sorry, that was just like comments. I just make Black Panther comments.
no, Black Panther was a phenomenon. I was just gonna say, I will say that I do only watch the first trailer for movies though.
Oh,
Because of that very thing is like I love seeing the first thing that a trailer like a studio will put out to advertise their movie. Like, this is the first thing that people are going to see, and a lot of times it's beautiful and it's a piece of art. But I try to avoid, like, I try to save as much as I can for the film
Yeah.
itself.
After a certain point,
fair.
myself and I think Coy agrees that we just kind of stopped.
We hard
watching
stop on
trailers.
this show.
Yeah, on the show
trailer
definitely.
3
Like
and
TV
spots don't get
spots,
shown.
no,
Yeah.
TV spots can just kind of
Yeah,
like the E-Bombe with
E-Bombe!
like
Yeah.
yes.
I
So,
love
so Black Panther has won even more things as it deserves to. I'm very proud of it, and just appreciate trailers more. It takes a lot of people, a lot of work, and it is it's out of the director's hands, and that shapes how the
Yeah.
movie does. So just appreciate the fact that people are taking something else and making it into something for you, and it's beautiful. So 19th annual Golden Trailer Awards. Now Aunt Anthony knows. Now you know. The Avengers. Dave Bautista.
Are we
dropping-
not gonna show like the
Oh,
first bit
we
of
can
it?
show. Yeah,
We
this is the
didn't-
trailer that won the Golden Trailer Award. Let's watch some.
We're only gonna show some of it,
So you
you
can
see the
remember
rest of it online.
I've seen men build weapons.
I don't even think I've seen this trailer.
I've seen aliens drop from the sky. seen anything like this. How much more are you hiding?
Haha.
And like the score was as telling.
Because
as
you've
the
never
movie.
seen Wakanda.
Is this the revolution will not be
Televised.
The revolution will
Yeah.
not be
I
televised.
see. This is one of the trailers I avoided.
What?
now
This was
here
like
it
one of the
is.
first
It was-
ones,
it was the
right?
second- it was the second one,
It was
yeah.
the second one during the NBA. Oh, because the first one was kind of like a teaser one.
And this was the one that showed us Wakanda in its full scope. It gave us the beautiful score and soundtrack.
Oh my god.
It gave us some world building.
Yeah, I felt bad because after this aired, like everybody was talking about it, and I couldn't contribute. So I was like, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna go see the movie.
Fantastic.
So, yeah,
And then-
this trailer
yeah,
is
yeah.
something special.
We're not gonna watch all of it. It's long, but you can watch it online.
And you should.
You should.
It's an award winning.
Exactly.
So-
and it feels kind of like a little bit like going home again.
Yes, it's true.
Just a little bit.
Now, Dave Bautista, you may know him as Drax, you may know him as Dave Bautista, is talking...
both.
Or as both. And Dave Bautista
Wrestling.
has been talking, and inherently in the way that Avengers Infinity War ended, everything's a spoiler. So, while talking, he says, well, I'll be in Guardians 3, obviously, and, well, if you remember the end of Infinity War, somebody got dusted. So, this shows that he's coming back for Avengers 4, Guardians 3. We're not sure how that happens, but we know for a fact it does happen. It is news, but it is news only in the fact that it changes the perspective of the 1% of people that thought everyone might stay dead, which they won't.
The guy I went when I saw the movie for the second time. The guy I went with, he was like, "What are they gonna do?" They were like, "What? I don't get it."
Yeah, Spider-Man's that's the main guy.
That's what he was. He was like, "They already have a sequel for Spider-Man, so is it gonna take place before Infinity War?"
Aw,
and I'm like,
I love
probably
that.
not.
My favorite conspiracy
that.
theory is that Infinity War takes place 2 years after Civil War, right? So imagine if Kevin Feige is just straight trolling us, and Black Panther 2 and
It's
Spider-Man 2
everything in
are
there.
in that 2 years.
Honestly,
Like,
that would be so.
What a
Although
ballsy
he's
burn.
already gone on
man.
record saying
Saying
that it was in
Spider-Man's
normal
moments
time.
after, yeah.
Yeah, and Black Panther is in real time after
Right.
the yeah.
It was just like, can you imagine? Like, because
That'd
Kevin
be
Feige's lied
crazy.
before.
The
It would
entire
be
thing's a
crazy
flashback.
move, dude. It
Like,
would be a
all of the movies are like, this 2 years, deal with it, they're dead.
yeah. it would be a wild move.
No.
So we now know that's not possible, but for a brief moment in time, I was like, what if Kevin Feige's the meanest mother out there?
Yeah.
So he's coming back. I'm excited. I love Drax. I think the character's great. He's also promoting a movie called Hotel Artemis, which is where this
Can't
quote
wait.
came from.
Yes,
which
Jeff
looks
Goldblum.
so
Coming
good.
out this Friday.
Yes.
It has the Grand Master in it. So
it's-
if only for
yeah, it
that
does.
reason,
And
you
Charles
need to
K.
see
Brown too.
Yeah, Sterling K. Brown.
Oh, Sterling K.
He
Brown.
goes to my
it. Sterling
gym.
K. Brown.
No shit.
Yeah.
I am like
Was it what?
cartoonishly a big fan of Sterling K. Brown.
Sterling K. Brown goes to my gym. I've
Oh,
just seen him around. I've
excellent.
never like talked to
He
him.
just seems like an
but-
excellent person. I mean, he's put the work in. He's,
Yeah.
veteran actor,
Mm-hmm.
and I love that he's getting his due right now. I love his role as in Jobu. I'm
He
going to
was
say
in
in
Black
Jobu.
Panther, too.
Yeah,
Let's
he
forget
was
that.
he was the father of Killmonger.
such an important
and it's like,
character.
oh my god, it was so. But it's also like, oh god, we can't bring him back. He's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that character. I mean, I want him to be in so many things, and like, I'm so bummed that he's dead in the MCU because I'm
Good
like, I
actor.
love Sterling K. Brown. I can't wait for
Yeah.
Predator.
he died in
Yeah,
like
Predator.
91. We'd have to Captain Marvel.
Good. Yeah.
Nah.
True. Good actor. Though.
He's
Good
incredible.
actor.
So that's the Hotel Artemis coming out. Check it out. It's written by Drew Pearce, who is Shane Black's right-hand man, Iron Man 3, and
Can't
Shane
wait
Black
for
just
that
in
movie.
general. And if you don't watch This Is Us, speaking of Sterling K. Brown, do yourself a favor. So, what's
Do
that?
we have a thing?
Is there a quote?
for,
For
Wait.
Dave,
Oh, let's
for
do it.
Dave? Like,
this
okay.
is him saying.
Thank you.
I don't know if I was supposed to, but I believe that I've already said publicly that I am.
How or why, we don't know yet.
Yeah, we don't know. I don't even know. I haven't read the script for either, and I've talked to James. I'm more excited about Guardians 3. Obviously, it's just much nearer and dearer to my heart. So I don't ask to see the script, or I don't want to know about it until he's actually written it, and then I want to read it and just say I love it because it's always great.
What a man.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Can I just say what a man?
Yeah, I
I
took
do-
that from Den of Geek. Did that press day for the upcoming Hotel Artemis.
That Dave Bautista, I got to interview him on the red carpet for Infinity War, and the dude is just so in love with Drax and
That's
like the
awesome.
Guardians, and like the beaming
That's
joy of
so
geekdom out of
good,
that
man.
huge of a human is just so like, whoa, this is awesome.
It's
Yeah.
just so good when you find actors that are as in love with their roles as the fans are.
Yeah,
You know,
and he
like,
really is.
It's so good, and I love like he came up through wrestling, and Guardians was one of the was like the first really prominent project that he worked on, and so I understand why he has that love for it. And I'm just such a big fan of his. I loved him in Blade Runner 2049 as well.
Underappreciated movie.
Yeah, definitely an appreciated movie. And just seeing like him really put in the work to act or to make that transition from wrestling to acting. And working on, and he's in Hotel Artemis as well. Oh wait, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. No, I've seen him live before. Really close up. He's a huge man.
So big.
Yeah, I forget which wrestling show it went to when I was like going to all of them. It was SummerSlam, WrestleMania, or something. 2015, 2016. I don't remember. In any case, this is a huge man. With a lot of tattoos.
I actually just looked him up on Wiki. It says that he's 6'6".
Yeah.
And you instantly
I'm
feel it.
5'4", so
'Cause
this
he's
is
not
a
just
huge
6'6",
human
Literally
being.
over a foot taller than you.
Yeah.
He's 6'6", and he's also 5 feet wide. Like, he's not just a tall guy. He's like a stone.
So he equals 5 of me.
That's insane.
So speaking of secrecy, him talking about how he probably shouldn't have said, Chris Hemsworth was on record talking about Mark Ruffalo's secrecy, saying, well, quote, the amount of times he has potentially derailed these films, but he's also the person you probably love the most. He's just one of the kindest people you'll ever meet, and so completely forgivable every time he gives away some plot point. He could get away with murder. Anyone else, I might be highly scrutinized and punished, but he's beyond forgivable. I agree. Mark Ruffalo is a bundle of cherries.
Ruffalo is bae.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's hilarious. Like, wasn't it him that he was at the Avengers premiere and he accidentally went live on like
Thor Ragnarok? He was live streaming that.
That's just so funny to me.
It's such a dad move too, because like he pulled, like the last shot in that stream is one of my favorites because it's Mark Ruffalo seeing it and it's his live reaction like. So it's like such a dad move. You're like, oh no.
Yeah, it's like I've never been personally spoiled anything major by Ruffalo or Tom Holland.
Same.
So I just find it like adorable.
It's very endearing.
Yeah.
So in the world of cancellations, Silver and Black has been pulled off.
Okay.
It's been pulled off the release date.
Hey, Trevor wants to get in on this one.
Because, I mean, we were talking about this before the show. Silver and Black is part of a universe that I hold near and dear. This is not technically canceled. It's just pulled from the release schedule. It still exists. The director's still attached. The cast, whatever they have for it, which we don't actually know officially too much of, still attached. It still could happen, but them pulling it off the release date is apparently so they can get the script exactly right. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm of two minds. Like, I think it's a good move. If they can't get the script, shouldn't make the movie. But honestly, I'm of the opinion. I have to be careful with my words here because I want to be hired. But I'm just of the opinion that trying to make a Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man makes no sense. I just like
Venom.
I'm the one guy going, give me whatever I can, however I can. And I'm like, I'll take Venom without Spider-Man because that means I get Venom.
No, I feel that. Like, because I grew up when there was just a drought of any kind of superhero offerings in way of movies. Like, you know, I grew up on like watching Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy. Then I found the X-Men movies. I found Blade when I got a little bit. I watched the Blade movies like over and over again. I watched like Ben Affleck's Daredevil 12 times just because there was like
there was
nothing else. So I would literally take anything that I could get. But now we're in this world post 2008 where we just have I'm a kid in a candy store. Like my comic book itch is scratched every month.
Yeah.
So so I love it, and it's literally a dream to me. And now I'm just in this place where Spider-Man, I was telling you before the show, Spider-Man was my gateway drug into comics, and Venom is my favorite comic book villain. And it worries me, especially like, and I've said this before too, like you can do literally any other Spider-Man character, any other Spider-Man villain as a movie without Spider-Man. I feel like Venom is literally the only one where you can't do it.
You mean the character with the spider on his chest that comes from being worn by Spider-Man before, and the suit takes all of his rage
that didn't
from
know about superheroes or anything until he actually, grabbed on to Spider-Man.
I mean, he is an alien from a planet that attaches to Spider-Man in space. But hey, it's fine. We'll figure it out.
I'm gonna see the movie.
I'm already
that's
but
happening.
like
it's concerned.
It's just like, and it's like I said, he's my favorite character or my favorite villain, and I just don't.
So my pitch for Venom that they won't do is it opens in the church, and it opens with a montage of Eddie Brock working out, and like there's newspapers behind him, but you don't see
Just
it.
like
Working
the
out in
animated
the
series.
in the church.
Sorry, the montage.
Yeah.
So he's
Okay.
working out, cut to the church, working out.
Because
cut
I
to the
work
church
out in churches all the time.
as much as I can. You get that
I
holy
mean
pub.
the chicken
The
place.
holy pump. Reps for
kidding.
Jesus.
Hydrated with holy water, reps for Jesus.
Ooh, Frido-cry.
So he works out, and then he goes to the church. So montage ends up in the church. Through the montage, you see his rage, you see newspapers clippings, you infer that he's a journalist, and then the opening of the movie is the ooze coming down, and the symbiote drips on him, and then the rage and the build up, and then it starts the movie.
That's
and then
straight out of the animated series. too.
after Spider-Man 5, the end of Spider-Man 5, Black Suit Saga ends with him at the church, so you retroactively tie them together.
Yeah.
That's what I'd do, because Tom Holland's not old enough yet. There's no way that happens.
And
It's a
that's-
heck of an idea, and I love it.
It did one day.
Yeah, and that's I want to get to your thoughts as well. But that was one thing when they announced this whole project that worried me, is because I wanted to see like Black Suit Spider-Man, that whole thing, be done justice by the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like I wanted to see Tom Holland go through like 3 Spider-Man movies, then he gets the black
Earns
suit,
it.
and then like Spider-Man 4 he wears it, and then maybe takes it off at the end, and like the end of Spider-Man 4 is like him getting rid of the suit and ending up with Eddie, and then it like cuts.
And then
to black,
because you can play with chronology in movies. That's the fun of movies. So
Yeah.
they could, but
So-
I don't think they would.
And it just worries me that like, it just worries me that since Venom is being done by Sony, they're like Marvel's not going to do it.
They're not.
They're going to be like, well, we can't do
They're-
that now, so it's fine.
Yeah, I don't think they have the patience, and maybe they don't have the time, but I think it's mostly the patience to be able to like really get into what we want for, our heroes. Yeah, oh God, that's a whole other conversation. That really is.
So,
that's
Silver
an
and Black.
interesting conversation. But yeah, Silver and Black. With this, I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
Because I trust Gina Prince Bythewood. She's phenomenal, and I'm looking forward to even more projects that she's going to be handling. It basically boils down to, with the level of director that she is, I understand there's people that are not as familiar with her either director-wise or as a writer, with what she has accomplished and the fields that she's accomplished that in. But trust me when I say that if she is pulling this, or if she's part of the conversation to pull this, it needed to be pulled.
And I want it done right or not done at all. And that's always
Exactly.
you can never make a first impression twice.
Yeah.
You can never
Yeah.
introduce Black Cat and Silver Sable twice. They're already there.
And that's what's interesting too for me, because I actually, out of all the projects they talked about, because they have the Venom movie, they've talked about a Mysterio movie, a Craven movie, and then the Silver and Black. This was the one that I was most interested in, like
it's so removed from
Because of the
Spider-Man and
Rogues
Hamlet.
Gallery, too.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
you could have with it.
Exactly. I really like both of these characters. Like Black Cat was part of my sexual awakening when I was a teenager.
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
Hey, I became a man when I saw Black Cat. So.
and Silver Sable's obviously like a badass character, and I really like the working title, Silver and Black. Like this was the one I was really interested to see. So, out of any of the movies that they're working on, if they're going to continue on, I think it'll depend on how Venom does at the box office and critically.
I think they're waiting on Venom.
Yeah, and if it does continue, this is the one that I'm interested in seeing.
So before we leave Spider-Man and go to Marvel Card Game, which I know you're excited to talk about, and then the game I know you're excited to talk about, I found out my boy Trevor has a favorite hero that you guys know I have that no one shares. The first person in 29 years of my existence.
Oh yeah,
Ben Reilly!
Ben Reilly Spider-Man. Yeah, I loved it. I loved the whole, like, when I was growing up and reading these comics or reading about these characters, I loved the identity crisis. I love his Scarlet Spider costume, the hoodie with
dude.
It's so cool. And then we were talking about the Spider Carnage.
Yeah,
whole
Spider
thing
Carnage imagery is some of the best imagery
Oh
in
yeah,
or of comics.
Like, I wish that they would bring him back, because
Yeah.
like you can only find a couple really cool like pictures of him online. I'm like,
Yeah.
bring him to 2018.
Dude, he's such a fun character. And for me, like we were talking before, the identity crisis aspect of what do you do beyond with great power comes great responsibility? A character that is so inundated with stress and virtue and
yeah.
being, what do you do? Introduce another him? So he's like, am I even real? How do you shatter someone's mind that's that responsible?
Yeah.
Ben Reilly's brilliant.
Then you get that meme.
Yes. pointing at each other. That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
character himself.
Exactly.
So I love Ben Reilly so
People
much.
rag on the Clone Saga, but
It's
I
got some-
dig it.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
I really dig it. Yeah.
I'm actually trying to do something with Mr. Schnepp defending the Clone Saga internet. Join me. Because the Clone Saga is underappreciated.
If you guys need some extra firepower, I'll come in with whatever,
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so
whatever insight I can
we'll
offer.
team up on Ben Reilly being a force for good.
Yeah, I love, and I think what they've done with this. Sorry, this is so
No,
tangential.
go for it.
It's so tangential, but
This
like,
is what we do.
but like, I feel like what they've done is with his character recently has been interesting too. Like in the more recent comics, I mean, he's had some missteps. Like there was this really weird costume that came out with him. It like had a hood, but it wasn't a hoodie, and
It was
just
like
didn't
attached to his suit, and
Yeah.
it like was like lycra, and it came up, and I was like, "Is he jogging?"
It was like red with this big blue spider. It just didn't look very good.
They were trying to replicate the past instead of making the future.
but now I'm not entirely sure. I can't exactly remember who's running it or who the creative team is, but they've been doing some interesting stuff with him recently.
The
which I
current
really
run
like.
Mark Bagley started on, and Mark Bagley is one of the first guys that ever drew him, so I love that he
Oh,
came
really?
back. Mark Bagley and Bendis had the longest run on Spider-Man ever, Ultimate Spider-Man, but Bagley back in the day did Maximum Carnage, and he was the first guy to ever draw Carnage. He introduced that suit of Ben Reilly. Like
Yeah.
Bagley coming back is a huge. It's like having Stan Lee back to writing. Like it's a very big draw of the OG.
Mm-hmm.
So. I want Markeia to tell us all about the card game because your gaming world is so. And then because we'll just talk about. I can talk about just the sweatshirt for like an hour on this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually did not hear about this card game. I didn't know it was a thing.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I'm one of those people that I feel like mobile games are games too. There's a lot of gamers that are just like, no, if it's not on a console or it's not on a PC, then there isn't enough time and effort put into it, or it's a pay to play type of thing, or it's a freemium. You know, there's no point into it. It's for grandmas and grandpas or whatever. And it's like I don't really believe that with mobile games. Maybe I'm biased because I enjoy gaming of all sorts and forms. Like a little bit of behind the scenes with me for this. It's a Marvel card game. It's called Marvel Battle Lines, and yes, it's a mobile game, Android and iOS. Sorry for the Nokia users, or was it there's other
Anybody who
there's
sells
other
a clamshell
phones.
phone.
The Microsoft
Yeah,
phone,
what
is
do I
that still a thing?
do?
Yeah, the Google phone.
The Google phone?
All the
I hear
Boost
they're
Mobile
really
users.
great phones, but they're just not. Yeah, but in any case, so people that have the Magic the Gathering background, and then also Yu-Gi-Oh, which is
Yu-Gi-Oh.
where I come. Yes,
Really?
Yu-Gi-Oh!
I
Are you
grew
kidding
up
me? Yes.
Obsessed with Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm telling you, it is not just a cartoon.
No,
It is
no, no.
a
It's a great
heck of a
game,
system.
yeah.
I owned it on like 2 different portables.
Oh yeah.
So
Do you
yeah.
play Duel Links on your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
There
why
we
Trevor's
go.
here, ladies
This
and
is why
gentlemen.
Trevor's
Ben
here.
Reilly and Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, but it's got a person-to-person option. You can battle friends and online players. And what I really enjoy about with Battle Lines, and Amy, thank you for including this, and like bringing this to attention. What I really enjoy about this is that you can play this with your mainstream friends, and you know what I
Your
mean
real-life
by your
friends.
mainstream friends. No,
Those
it's
that
like
don't wear Deadpool
nerds
button-ups.
and mainstream alike with this, because they really are. They separate it like the cards like by rarity, and and then people know like, oh, I can only have like one Thanos or and the such. So this is going to be such a fun game. I'm looking forward to. I'm sure that this is going to be somewhere in E3. I'm going to find this if it isn't.
It won't be on the main stage.
No, it won't be on the main stage, no. But I'm gonna find this somewhere, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna send pictures of it, or I'm gonna talk about it in some way. Anything. I'm going to E3, so anything.
I was gonna ask you
anything
this,
Marvel related. I know, right? I'm hoping that Square Enix like announces the Avengers game finally.
Well, I was
we were talking before. Actually, this is a good tangent. Let's get
Yeah.
into E3 officially.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
let's
We're
do
moving on
that.
to E3.
But I do want to say about the card game. I'm really like I said, I didn't hear about this, but I'm excited because I did grow up with a heavy card game influence. Like from the time I like came out of the womb, pretty much I was obsessed with Yu-Gi-Oh, and I played Magic the Gathering, which I also really loved. So I'm a big fan of card games, and I'm excited to try this one out.
I was
Exactly.
a Fleer Ultra comic card collector. I loved the cards. I didn't play them, but I loved the cards. So I love the idea of a different generation getting different cards, and it's so appropriate that it's digital. Like there's something to like
Yeah.
it's almost like a passing of the torch. So I as a not card game player, am excited this exists just from like you guys get your own. So I'm
Yes,
excited.
and then also for Marvel Battle Lines, it will have a single player campaign written by Alex Irvine. So
oh, that's sick.
might as
cool.
well give it a try out. Android and iOS.
Now
But Marvel
E3.
E3, yeah.
Yes,
Now-
Marvel E3.
They're gonna have
Aye.
a big showing this year, I think.
Spider-Man is
Yeah.
gonna, like, I've talked about this before. This is the reason I'm getting back into gaming. I am
Yeah.
buying a pro PS. I'm spending $1,000 on this one game, and I hope there's other games so I can spread that
Have
money
you
out.
already prepaid?
I'm hoping there's a
because
Spider-Man
I
edition.
think okay, yeah, because I think what you need to do is like look for the deals.
Well, I'm hoping there's a Spider-Man edition, like a red
Yeah.
one
There
for white.
is.
Yeah, so
There-
once that's official.
Oh, it's of the console.
Of the console.
yeah,
And if
they
there's
usually do
not,
it for
then
the
I'll
big
find a deal.
games.
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I
probably
ended up
will.
getting it with the latest Batman game. So
Yeah.
I got that plus I got
Artemis.
Final Fantasy.
And I'm gonna get the
Final
VR
Fantasy,
because I
like
want to
the-
just live in the future.
I've played Batman Arkham VR too.
Yeah, I want to do
How
that.
is that?
It's
I'm
good.
I'm
It-
kind of hesitant too.
I was too. It's like it's different because I played all the Arkham games, and it's definitely like it's a good experience, and it definitely gets you. Like I played it at my buddy's house who had it, and
A few of my friends started. They've
Yeah.
got it, and it's always like a pull. But I feel like Lawnmower Man. I feel like I'm just
Right.
fully
Yeah.
like
Spider-Man VR.
I want it. Like imagine swinging through New York in VR. Like I hope they tie it all together.
Oh,
eventually.
yeah.
I'd never leave my house.
That's
You'd
the
never
problem.
see me
I
again.
know, I know.
That's the thing is I haven't gamed since actually Ultimate Spider-Man, written by Bendis. Remember the one that was cell shaded? It was like
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2, but then
Great
the cell,
game.
yeah, that was the
Great
last
game.
game I ever played. That's the last game
Dude,
I've held.
you need to play Spider-Man: Web of Shadows.
Oh, it's great. Spider-Man 2009, right?
Yes.
It's actually my favorite. I think it's my favorite Spider-Man game. Like people always talk about Spider-Man 2, the
Time
movie
race.
tie-in,
Yeah.
which is great. But I found like Spider-Man: Web of Shadows has a really good story. It's a really like personal story where they kind of set Spider-Man in like a kind of a post-apocalyptic New York,
Cool.
where symbiotes have taken over
Oh,
the
sick.
city. And Venom is like your main antagonist, and it's got a moral choice system where you can choose to like, because you get the symbiote at the beginning of this game, so you can choose to kind of be Red Suit Spider-Man and be good.
that's
Choose to be
sick.
Black Suit
Yeah.
Spider-Man, and it's a really fun game. I played it.
kind of
the
like
second
social
game.
commentary with it, and I felt like the combinations were very intuitive.
Yeah,
I'm excited
Yeah.
about. Okay, so
So-
yeah, 2 games I got.
Yeah, and so Spider-Man PS4, or I guess they're just calling it Marvel Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, because it's the first one with that red brick. They were saying how they want to rebrand the when you see Marvel on a game, it feels the same as the
and I
theater.
loved it. Like I loved when this game was announced and they had Marvel, a Marvel spokesperson talking about how they want to really dive into the gaming space
Yeah.
and create games of the quality of Rocksteady's Arkham games,
Right.
Which I played the hell out of, you know, 'cause, and that just really excited me. And Spider-Man really looks like they're doing it. The developers, they did Sunset Overdrive, which was really fun. I think they really are showing that they've got a mastery of the controls and the mechanics, like movement and fighting.
Some of the fight mechanics or stuff I never even thought of Spider-Man as doing.
Yeah.
I love that they had like some like bounce off webbing and then pull and like the attacks look so creative.
Amy, is chat room saying anything, or have you had some experience with some of these Spider-Man games also?
Well, some people are trying to figure out how much they can afford. How much they're willing.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, because
Which-
like the
yeah.
PS4 Pro is like $600. I
Yeah.
think.
My mom's in the live chat saying, I think Coy's giving me hints what he wants for his birthday in
Hi,
September.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
Mom.
Stephanie Jandro.
My birthday's next month.
She's
Mom,
a
if you
she's
wanna
a
get me
yeah
anything.
she's
Wanna have
a
that
she's a
PS4?
writer.
Yeah. My mom is
And it
awesome.
comes
Hey,
out in September.
Yeah, it does. so
Mama
it's pretty
Jandro,
convenient.
my birthday's in August.
Marvel movie news.
Um,
So I think E3 is going to show the game. I think that E3 is going to announce Miss
Avengers
Marqueia's
project,
theory
yeah.
for months now. I want to give you full credit. What do you think's coming?
Oh, Avengers! I
Yeah.
think they're gonna have to. I mean,
Square
they
Enix, right?
yeah, they signed like a multi-game deal. And oh god, I keep on forgetting his name. His name's like Steven something or other. He's the one that wrote Left Behind with
Okay.
The Last of Us,
Which
and
is
he like
amazing.
he's done a lot of really great work. And I hate that I always forget his name when someone's like, "Hey, so
who's that guy?
exactly?" I'm like, Alex?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll look it up. I'll tweet it. But yes, very much looking forward to that. I know they're going to do that Spider-Man game, most definitely. And now that'll
So
be
E3 is when?
It's
next week.
weekend.
Next week?
yeah,
Okay,
it's
so
the
it's-
12th,
I think it-
13th, and 14th.
Yeah.
So we'll know for sure. And I think that's where they'll
And I'm-
announce the
I'm-
Spider-Man console.
I'm
so.
missing next week's show for no related reason.
By the way,
Yeah, I'm super stoked. Like I saw this thing. It was like a thing on Instagram, so it's like a rumor that I just saw.
Yeah.
But I saw like there was a rumor that the Square Enix, like the Avengers project is how they're referring to it. That it's gonna be like the gameplay is gonna be a combination of Uncharted and Infamous. And I'll tell you guys right now.
Heard of those.
Which makes
so-
sense with the person that they have on board with it.
That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, and I'll tell you guys right now, like, so I'm a gamer. I guess I consider myself a gamer.
Do it.
Infamous is my favorite video game series of all time. It's,
Love the soundtrack for the
Yeah.
second one too.
Oh yeah. They've got great music, and because you play as a superhero or you play as a guy with superpowers, and you can kind of it's also got a moral choice system, and like there are 3 main games and 2 kind of spin-off games that are just I played them all. I've dedicated more time to playing those games than I have done anything else. Like
I hear you.
my relationship with those games is stronger than any relationship I've ever had in my life.
Why is Trevor in my life right now?
and Uncharted is actually a game series that I got into last year, which is really, really good. One of my best friends grew up playing those games and loved them, and I got into it, and I could see why people love them so much. So if the Avengers game is a combination of these 2 things that I love,
With those characters.
I will spend all my money to
And
play
they know it. Marvel knows it.
Speaking of Spider-Man, though, the thing I'm most excited about for that game is the alternate costumes.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're gonna have they've said
everything we love.
the costumes are gonna have like different powers and
Yeah,
stuff.
Iron Spider's going to use the legs. Black
That's
Suit's
what I've
gonna
heard.
have.
Gonna have
I think
to.
the black suit will be stronger. Like,
I
I think,
hope
you know
so.
what I mean? Like,
If they,
they'll tie
they
Yeah.
better have the black suit in there
they
too.
do.
But they have to do
Right.
something with it. Like maybe it utilizes your health while you're using
Drains
it
your
or
health
something
slowly,
like that.
maybe. Yeah, that'd be
Something,
cool.
something.
Because they've announced 2 officially. They have Spider-Punk and Iron
Yeah,
the
Spider
Iron
Punk's so
Spider.
dope, the mohawk.
Oh yeah, and his power is he's got a AoE, like area of effect guitar blast. He pulls out a guitar and like strums it and blasts everybody. Apparently.
Hello,
So
Mad
ready to
Max
get-
Spider.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
please give that to me.
I'm ready to be a
now.
gamer again.
Okay.
Yes. So speaking of
Gamer section.
tangible Marvel media,
And Amy, you're very much about this.
Oh yeah.
so in the world of tangible Marvel media, you showed me this. I actually hadn't even
did.
seen these yet. You added this to the rundown, which I appreciate. Shoes. I love shoes.
Oh, shoes.
Look at these dope Vans. Vans is teaming up with Marvel,
wow.
and they're making some. This looks like something like an amazing street artist would design custom, and they're legit. You can buy them. I love these shoes. There's a Deadpool shoe. There it is.
that's
Good timing. Look at that Deadpool. That's like designed for me. That Deadpool shoe's amazing. I think it's a Black Panther shoe on the left.
Yeah,
it looks
looks like it.
incredible. This whole line has me like so excited.
Yeah, those are dope.
I love all of them. And I usually love like 1 or 2. Like you'll see
Yeah.
like 2 in a set.
Look,
You're
there's
like,
a
"Ooh,
Spider-Man one.
look at that. So all of these just top notch, excellent work,
That's
fans.
Thor on the right. That looks like upper right. Got the wings.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
helmet
Oh,
wings.
it's got. Yeah, that's got to be Thor.
Ooh, I hope they have a Daredevil one.
Marvel shoe news indeed. So I just wanted to show these off. Once we have more news, like release date or any of that stuff, I know
Yeah.
retailers
Thank
are
you,
already
Amy.
jumping on them. Thank you so
Hashtag
much.
thank you,
You're
Amy.
welcome.
As of now, it's just fall, I think, or do they have a date?
June 8th.
Oh,
Says-
that's not fall at all.
Yeah, that's what it says. Collection will offer various styles and sizes for
June 8th.
adults.
That's like.
That's like now.
toddlers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Because I read Marvel's now teaming up with Van to the 70-piece fall collection. That's all I got
I
to.
know, but
And then
then
they
it says-
lied.
That's
No,
actually
it'll
Friday.
drop June 8th.
It's Friday.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's Friday.
It's not fall yet, America. Don't rush me. That is a summer line.
Are we having a discussion about time again? Time is a concept. We don't know what time is.
Last week, I thought it was Tuesday on Wednesday, and then Marqueia's like, "You come to the show today?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" Like, I just haven't known
He
what
was like,
time was. in
I'll
days.
see you on Friday. I'm like, wait, what?
So apparently June 8th is the fall. So check out those shoes starting on Friday. And I also want to show off this beautiful poster of a company not going to Comic-Con. Check out this beautiful Mondo Comic-Con poster.
Wow.
This is actually kind of gorgeous.
love it.
love this color palette.
I would hang it.
And the amount of characters they got
Right?
in there, like, that's an insane poster. So I wanted to
Yeah.
just...
Oh, for our iTunes people.
Oh, yeah.
for people. Oh, for people that are just listening audio. If it isn't on iTunes, because we realized that we were
Podcasting.
having difficulties with that. Hopefully, that has been straightened out. If it hasn't,
It's pinned on the top of our Twitter page, so you can hear it on a secondary.
yes. So please do that. But no, the color palette is red, white, and blue.
It's
and
gorgeous.
a series of all of our favorites. Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Hulk is in there. Our screen is small and dark, and I can't name everybody. But
Let's see, Ultron. To the
Yeah,
left.
it's almost every character.
yeah, and then with the Comic-Con title at the bottom, it has Captain America's shield as the O in, well, as the C in between Comic-Con.
So it's gorgeous. Definitely look
It
it up
is
online. You want to give it some
beautiful.
time
Yeah.
and like notice the details. It's really rad. But before we get too late into the show, we gotta go to TV time.
TV
TV time.
There it is. There's the magic.
Marvel movie news. We're talking TV
Production values. So, Rosario Dawson might be leaving her role as the Nick Fury of the Netflix universe.
Really?
So that is upsetting to me because she is always the highlight of the shows for me. Whenever
Yeah.
Claire Temple's on, I'm like, hey! Like, she's always like the glue that keeps, like her and Turk. I'm always like really excited to see them
I
pop up.
love Turk.
They're always like,
Right.
yeah. So she
That
said,
dude's just hustling.
oh yeah,
He's always
Turk's
hustling.
every corner of Harlem and Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
So she said basically, quote, yeah, it's pretty wild actually. I don't know if I'll be back after this, to be honest, but it's been an amazing few years. I've been on a lot of different shows. I mean, I don't know if maybe they do a third season of Luke Cage potentially, or maybe if they figure out some kind of way to maybe be on The Punisher, just so I can feel like I've done every show. But it's been like, my daughter's in high school, so I kind of want to not be 3,000 miles away for work.
Oh.
That makes sense. It's an adorable
Yes.
reason not to be able to make it. Once again, this was at the MCM Comic-Con in London, which had a lot more news than we expected to come out of it because they're not going to San Diego, so it's a great time for people to get these scoops out. But Rosario Dawson might be leaving after Daredevil Season 3. She's been there since the beginning with Daredevil Season 1. I'm a big Claire Temple fan. What do you guys think?
Yeah, and then fun fact, Amy, thank you. She's playing Wonder Woman in The Death of Superman for a voiceover.
Yeah, I heard that.
So cool.
Yeah, yeah, right. So yeah, oh my God, Claire Temple. She's been our Nick Fury
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Marvel
The
Netflix.
Night Nurse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
she's
good
been
at it.
she's been the night nurse.
And she's in Luke Cage Season 2, so we'll see her very soon. In this month.
Yeah, we will. And we saw in the Fenders when she's like, "Oh, what are these Hellcat like weapons
Those
that
were
I
so
can?"
cool.
Those are pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that, even if she doesn't end up being Hellcat, which that doesn't look like that's going to happen at all.
Hellcat is Trish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's Trish, and Trish has gone full Trish.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
season
gone
2,
full
she went full
Trish.
Trish.
Yeah, that
And Season 3, she'll
that
probably go
happens.
full Hellcat, because like that,
Yeah.
that
I
elevator
want to
moment.
see her in a costume.
Just
right
kind of
now.
have
That elevator moment was
right?
dope. And that actress, like, with her pop star background, I could totally see pulling off like a weird spandexy, almost Hellcat suit.
Yeah, I
I can
wanna
see them
see
making
that.
that work.
And I know that there's been a lot of mixed feelings when it came to Trish from Jessica Jones
Yeah.
season 2. But I think that leaves us into a very healthy mind space to then have her as Health Cat, continuing on
I agree.
from there on out. But I know with this, and we'll talk about other thoughts with it, but we wanted to see Luke Cage and Daughters of the
Exactly.
Dragon. I'm saying that for Aunt Manthony for after we do this Rosario Dawson piece.
Boom.
So, but how about you, Rosario Dawson, Claire Temple?
It's kind of a bummer. I
Yeah.
mean, I always respect an actor's choices, like if it's personal or just whatever to discontinue with a project. But I have she is amazing, and she's kind of the really part of the emotional core of Daredevil. I think seasons 1 and 2, she's so great, and then having her interspersed. I mean, it started to feel a little contrived to me a little later on. I loved seeing her in all these different shows, but like having her be a student at Colleen's
Everywhere.
thing, and like she's like, "Oh, I'm just happening to move to Harlem when Luke Cage is coming back," and her, but I really love her as an actress, and her character of the night nurse has been this like through line through the Marvel shows, save for Punisher, that's been really good because she's the point of view character for the audience. Like
Right.
she's like the normal person
She's
that
your
just
eye line.
is wrapped up in all this.
Yeah.
And so if she does leave, I hope they give her character a worthy send off.
Agreed. I want it to either be
Very
very
nice.
affecting or let her go off into the sunset.
Yeah,
She needs that big moment.
Yeah, I
but
don't
no
think-
death.
Yeah, I don't think they need to
They
kill
don't need
her.
to, yeah,
Like,
They don't
never-
need to kill her.
Give her
Like,
the
I mean,
option to come back.
affecting as in giving her a full end of arc. I want her
Yeah.
to achieve that solace she's been seeking. Because all 4 of the shows she's been, like, she's not Punisher, but all 4 of her seasons she's been on, she's been able to, like, have an arc of growth. I'd love to have her, like, feel contentment.
Yeah.
Speaking of contentment and growth,
Yes. I don't know how long this is, but we're going to watch all of it. So,
Gimme.
What is it? That was the scene.
yeah, so this is from Luke Cage, season 2. It's Daughters of the Dragon.
My brother to Danamora.
This is Misty Knight and Colleen Wing trying to enjoy a drink at a bar, and some random dude.
Somebody's called me a bitch today.
Uh-oh.
And it's gonna be the last.
Uh-oh.
Bill Norris.
This is Misty.
Sorry. I don't look down before I flush.
This is the best character in
Got
the
a
Luke
real
Cage series,
mouth
by the
on
way.
you.
Pre-bionic arm.
Stick something in
And she's about to get into a fight because he deserves it.
Violence is never the answer.
And that's a great moment right there.
I can't wait to see Daughters of the Dragon, like, fully.
Oh yeah.
They should have just done this.
I mean, they learn from their mistakes.
And this moment right here, where Misty like looks at Colleen, and Colleen just takes a drink from beer and like, what are you gonna do?
Great.
And Misty's like, I'm gonna be me. That's what I'm gonna do.
And I feel like this is what the next season is gonna feel more like.
I think this is the best possible direction that Iron Fist season 2 could have ever done. But sorry, I said Iron Fist season 2. I meant Luke Cage.
But if this is what Iron Fist becomes as well, it's with her.
Wow, I haven't seen the scene yet. Colleen's choreography in this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, and it's believable. Like,
her inertia and use of force is like, it doesn't feel like a comic-y. It feels like her actually.
Yeah. Because I think we can all admit that Colleen wasn't utilized to her best potential in Iron Fist.
She wasn't.
So I'm I'm hoping that Luke Cage improves Colleen's writing.
Flesh her out some more.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks. Comes out in 2 weeks.
Does it really?
Luke Cage, 22nd.
You can end it.
And I'll say again, Misty Knight, I think, is the best character from Luke Cage. Him and Cottonmouth. I think.
Yeah, I was gonna Cottonmouth's my guy, and once that middle season choice they made was like, guys, what are you doing?
It's so crazy to me how starkly the show changed after that scene, or after that, like that episode ended, and the next episode on to the end of the season, completely different show.
Yeah. I feel like season 2 is gonna learn from that.
I think so too, because I still profess to love the first half of Luke Cage.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I think everybody is, on that train.
And so I'm really excited when I remember they first, I think it was like Entertainment Weekly or something, released a picture of Misty Knight with a robotic arm.
Yeah.
Luke Cage. I sent it to my buddy, and we were both just like, I'm so ready.
Yes.
So briefly, briefly last week, Legion is not a thing we'll be covering until the very end because we're going to watch it once. We're all a little behind. It is a very dense show. I just want to mention that we're not forgetting about it. Just so you guys know, Legion fans, I love you. It's an important show. I just haven't had time. Markeia hasn't either.
Yeah.
But Cloak and Dagger is out on the 7th. As far as I know, it is the 5th according to my calendar. So 2 days. 2 days till that show. I can't wait to talk about it next week with you the following week.
Exactly. I won't be here the 12th, but the following.
I want to talk about it.
Come on next week.
Come on. Yeah, come back.
We'll definitely Cloak and Dagger up. That show looks so good.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I'll just say this briefly. Like, when I first heard that they were turning Cloak and Dagger into like a teenage YA series, I'm like, don't do that. What? And then I saw, like, literally, they released the first trailer like a year ago, and I went from 0 to 100 immediately. I was like, I want to see that right now.
The tone looks like they nailed it. The heart's in the right place.
I'm really excited.
Have you seen the split? I know you don't watch a lot of trailers. Have you seen the split screen trailer?
I think I did see that, yeah.
Where it's like character building with no dialogue.
Yeah.
If you can do it like a enough said comic, basically, for a 90-second trailer.
If I didn't see that, it was definitely described to me, and I was like, that sounds awesome.
Beautiful. So I love that, and I think that is our last bit of that for the day. Anthony, how much time we got?
Just wrap it up. I don't know.
It's my fault. I talk no.
Do we have 5 minutes to talk about comic to Riverdale World?
Sure, yeah.
Okay,
yes,
cool.
let's
I want to make
do
sure.
Yeah.
So you work on it. You're a comic fan. Clearly, we've just vetted you for an hour.
Yes.
Talk comics with us. What was it like for you to go from reading comics your whole life to, and we're going to relate, okay, so Netflix, we just talked about Luke Cage. Who's on Luke Cage? Punisher. Punisher teams up with Archie. It's Riverdale. Marvel crossover.
No, that's canon.
Boom,
that's canon.
That's canon.
Read that. Read Punisher and Archie.
I'm just saying, so
do it.
This is canon, this conversation. So what was it like for you to go from that world of loving it since you were a kid to being on a show that's comic-based?
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, my name's Steins. I'm an actor. I work on a show, or I have worked on a show called Riverdale. I was a character named Jason Blossom, and it's based off of the Archie comics. And for me, as a huge comic book fan, especially living in this this time period of there just being a boon of superhero and comic book related shows, like they're making comic book out of everything. We got Black Lightning, we have Arrow, Flash, and all these movies. To be able to have this lifelong love of comic books and then to work on a comic book show it was just a dream come true, you know? And it was like this, it was definitely the most high profile project that I'd worked on up to that point. Mm-hmm. And to have that breakout, or not maybe not a breakout, but have that opportunity to be a part of something that I've loved my entire life. It was amazing. You know, it's not, I didn't read a ton of Archie comics growing up because I was into cape stuff. I was a superhero guy. But just knowing that there was this, character with like a 60, 70 year history.
Yeah.
That, all these characters, comic book world that and our lead writer Roberto writes comic books. He writes Afterlife with Archie and all these other. I think he writes Sabrina as well. So he's totally. I was telling you this story.
Yeah.
Actually, I hope I can still tell this story. I hope they don't use this later. I was telling you the story the other day where I was reading through one of the scripts and they had a reference to the X-Men where she says, Veronica says, you have to be prepared to go full Dark Phoenix. And I jumped up and down when I read that. They changed it in the final cut. They changed it to, I think, Full Dark No Stars was the line.
But it's so cool that that's in a comic. Like they made that reference.
And so like
it's actually a pretty good line.
Yeah, our writers have such respect for like the source material, even though they do like subvert it a lot. But they're all geeks, you know, they're all comic book fans, and so it's just a great environment to be a part of, and it was a dream come true for me.
Is the whole cast and crew like, are they comic people to the point where it gets referenced? I know the show is very different, especially tonally. Yeah. But do they do the Easter eggs like Marvel does, where even if it's not part of the storyline, they like plant stuff for fans to go like, boop?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, there are a couple instances that I can think of. I don't want to like spoil too much.
No,
of the show,
no.
But there are definitely a couple Easter eggs and references to like old Archie. I don't know, Archie lore.
Yeah,
you know, like
actually Archie was my gateway drug into comic books.
Yes,
oh really?
I was a military brat. So,
so you had those
Archie was everywhere.
on the bases and everything.
Some
right?
bases, most bases had Marvel and DC as it progressed, but Archie was always everywhere.
That's what I've heard from other like military kids or kids who grew up in the military, is that they all had a lot of Archie comics. So yeah, it was awesome for me, and getting to see those like little hints at the greater world of Archie has been really cool for me, just like I said, as a comic book fan.
Yeah.
Because I think as a comic book fan, we're really sensitive to Easter eggs. Like we
are.
love hints
we love
at
seeing
stuff.
that.
Yeah.
Like because you want to believe that it's part of this interconnected like world that you're just seeing a bit of, you know.
Right.
So when there's a reference to something else or a reference to the source material, you like, I know what that is. I clapped when I saw it.
Was that what working in the show felt like? Or those moments of like, oh, this is from the world that I grew up reading. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I would be reading through a script and I'd be like, oh, I know what they're talking about. I know what that is.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Well, it's
So it
like
was
the
super
universe
great.
is vast, so when we find these little points that like connect us in different ways, either to childhood or to each other with different things like that, it's just I don't know, it's kind of like coming home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's fantastic.
It definitely makes me feel like, I don't want to say like a kid again, but it ignites that passion in me that I felt when I was younger.
Yeah. Well, it's just the beginning, and we're going to start the Ben Reilly campaign for
Yes,
you.
sir.
Trevor Stein for Ben Reilly, because there are many of us that love that character.
Ben Reilly 2K18.
It's happening. So anything you want to talk about coming up? Anything you're allowed to talk about coming up? Anything you're excited about?
Yeah, no, I don't have much that I can talk about right now in regards to like future work or anything, but we're just trying to hit it as hard as we can and stay working, which is always a struggle in Hollywood.
Totally feel you there.
Yeah.
Totally feel you there.
This gentleman is on social media, and he doesn't get to talk comics enough. That is the through line we have had conversation about since I met the man. We've been like, more talking about comics. We're talking about comics. So this is an entire audience of thousands of people that watch this show. Talk comics
Just live
to this man.
right now, and then will.
Hundreds of thousands
tweet
online,
me.
thousands here.
Seriously, tweet
Audio.
me, ask me anything. I will talk to you for hours about this
Give
stuff.
them your tweet.
Yeah.
Give them
So
your
once
Twitter.
again, it's at Trevor_Steins, STINES. Just I want to talk about comics and movies more. Like I really do.
Nerd stuff.
And we'll try to have you on again like super soon.
Yeah, I would love to.
We'll scheme a thing, and we'll talk more about.
Yeah.
I want to talk more about Riverdale because my group of friends is so obsessed with that show,
really?
and I don't even have time to watch Legion, so I haven't started on that show.
I haven't had a chance to yet. I was a big fan of Jughead. I'm sorry if you're not Jughead.
Definitely not.
But
Jughead.
like as growing up, I was like, oh, Jughead, he's just doing his own thing,
Yeah.
And I hear that he's different in the
whole
series.
show's like
so
He's really
I'm
different.
interested.
He's a strong character though. You'll like.
I will have to watch it now because we had Trevor
Yeah.
on. I'm just like, I need to be informed.
That's what it takes. So my friends that are obsessed with it, like one of them literally writes canon like storylines for the show by way of new media. Like, she's that obsessed, she became like fan to working for.
Oh, that's
like,
awesome.
So the show's apparently incredible. I plan to watch it when this wave of superhero stuff slows down, where the world like allows me to know what date it is or what my name is or what time it is.
Good luck.
When that might 2020.
Yeah, good
Yes.
luck.
But we're gonna wrap up today. We got some Merry Marvelite shout out.
Oh,
we don't have time. We'll do it next week. We'll get some Merry Marvelite love.
We'll shout you all out next week. But Amy, where can they find you?
On all social media at Amy Cassandra MTZ, and thank you so much for joining us in the chat.
I've been GMing lately. So I did my first GM ever last week, live stream on Geek and Sundry. That was a thing with Weave Society. And then I did my second ever GMing yesterday for 10 Candles for Hyper RPG. So I will do the conclusion of both of those arcs, one on Wednesday with Weave Society, and then next Monday with Hyper RPG 10 Candles. For Wednesday, it's Solar Age. I based it off of Guardians of the Galaxy. So it's called Custodians of the Universe. And they will be meeting Alita Ogod, who's a space captain. And Alita Ogard? No? Yes? Okay. So see that, and that will be 9 p.m. Twitch.tv/Geek and Sundry. And then if you're interested in the zombie apocalypse,
Who isn't?
and the delivery system of that was cockroaches for my 10 Candles. It's a tragic horror RPG. That will be Monday, June 11th, 6 p.m. Twitch.tv/hyperrpg. But otherwise, find me on Markeia McCarty, MARKEIA MCCARTY, Twitch and Instagram.
Boom. Social media. For you, sir.
That was longer than I wanted it to be.
Yeah, like I said, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Trevor_Steins. And I'm sorry for talking too much. Like I said, this is just
stop.
This is just what I love this.
We're having you
more than
back because you
anything,
talk
so.
too much. That's
Yeah.
the goal.
See
This is
all of
what
us
we're
at
here
E3.
for.
E3 lives next week.
Really excited for
E3,
that.
and then I'll be, and hopefully Markeia as well, be at Las Vegas Comic Con at the end of the month, 29th, 30th. We'll
Jealous.
be at Vegas Con, and Mr.
Amazing
Mob
Con.
Liefeld, Amazing Con, thank you.
Amazing Con.
Lewis Tan, a bunch of amazing Deadpool people will be there as well.
Rob!
We'll be there, and we also will be here, and then occasionally on Heroes, as you guys know, and I am dead serious about Ben Reilly, because the live chat has been saying Harry Osborn this whole time, and someone just said, Harry Osborn and your dad is Matthew McConaughey in the MCU. So let the fan casting begin, and this has been Marvel
He'd
Movie
make a
News.
Great Norman Osborn.
Send him stuff, talk comics, and we'll have him back on soon. You guys have been great. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.